Right now, in this area, this is my office. This is my home ground. And it's well worth defending.
For more than 2 centuries, Sweden kept a position of military neutrality. But in 2024, that changed.
I always call that the mother of all unintended consequences for Russian strategic thinking. If Russia had one objective with Sweden and Finland, it was to keep them outside of the alliance, and by Russia's full-scale invasion, now we are part of Nato.
But what does this Nordic nation, home to 10.5 million people, bring to the NATO alliance?
We do not come empty-handed. We do bring a lot of humility as a new ally, but we also bring a lot of capability. So we definitely want to see ourselves as a net provider of security.
In March 2024, Sweden saw its flag raised above NATO headquarters in Brussels, becoming the 32nd member of the NATO alliance.
It's good now that Sweden has a seat at the table that provides us a better opportunity to have influence, but also take responsibility for the alliance.
Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine the turning point for a country that would otherwise have stayed militarily neutral, as it had done for the past 200 years.
Supporting Ukraine is both the right thing to do and it's a smart thing to do. Of course, this is about decency and it's about humanity and standing up for the Ukrainian people, but it's also upholding principles which are crucial for a smaller country like Sweden. Rule of law, the European security order and a rules-based international order.
As the nation with the longest coastline on the Baltic Sea, a key strategic waterway connecting northern and eastern Europe, and with its proximity to the Arctic, Sweden's position in Europe is key to Euro-Atlantic security.
Leaning on the many years of close partnership with NATO, we have embraced a lot of the methodology that comes with standardization and building interoperability. We can now plan and work together, not as a unique entity, but as an integral part of NATO.
As a militarily neutral nation, over the years Sweden manufactured its own military hardware, which was adapted to meet the challenges of the country's unique terrain and climate. Today, Sweden continues to produce advanced equipment, including submarines, combat vehicles, and the Gripen fighter jet. But arguably its most groundbreaking achievement is the Visby-class corvette.
It's a multitasking ship. We can use it for submarine hunting and we can use it for air defense and also for the surface operations.
The Visby-class corvette is a stealth ship. Its design helps it avoid detection by radar and other sensors, making it very hard to spot. And its ability to navigate through shallow waters makes it ideal for Baltic Sea operations.
Our profession is to use this ship in an attack from the archipelago in the Baltic Sea. That's what this ship is built for. We are very familiar with the environment in this region, and this ship is built for the environment around here.
Sweden, with over 250,000 islands, among the most of any country in the world, relies on its navy to protect its vast coastline and archipelagos. A key component is the amphibious corps, which specialises in coastal defence.
Since the Swedish coastline is very different, thousands of islands, from small ones to big ones, with trees, without trees, the system and the capabilities that the amphibious battalions holds, it's also unique in the world, I would say. We bring our own sustainability. We live and work from our boats that are designed to operate in these conditions.
Operating from the domestically designed and built Combat Boat 90, the amphibious corps have been active in these archipelagos for centuries and know the region better than anyone.
Our main operation area is where the sea meets the land. Either it's an open coast or archipelago. We are designed to work on the water, below the surface, on land and in the air around the Swedish coastline.
Among Sweden's many islands, the most strategically important is Gotland, sometimes referred to as the Baltic Sea's unsinkable aircraft carrier. Its location, roughly halfway between mainland Sweden and the Baltic states, is crucial for controlling military and economic movements and deterring threats to NATO territory. The Gotland Regiment plays a key role in safeguarding the island's security.
So the symbol for the battle group Gotland and the Gotland Regiment is the ram. The ram symbolizes strength and the will to survive in harsh conditions on an island in the middle of the Baltic Sea.
NATO forces have long trained and exercised on Gotland, but Sweden's NATO membership now means that the island could become a hub for NATO operations and for monitoring Baltic Sea activity.
Coming into NATO gives opportunities to use Gotland as a hub for maritime operations, for logistics, and also different kinds of weapons systems which could provide aid, for instance, to the Baltic states. So it could be a platform for long-range fires as well.
Patrolling Sweden's 3,200 kilometres of coastline from the sea is crucial, but protecting it from the air is just as important. Sweden's Air Force includes its powerful Gripen jets, which are known for their agility, range, and ability to operate in various conditions.
So we always have at least 2 aircraft in constant readiness for air policing mission, or to identify, collect information, or to intercept an aircraft coming too close to NATO territory.
With a fleet of more than 200 aircraft, advanced radar systems, and a unique concept of air operations, which includes the use of civilian infrastructure such as highways for jet takeoffs and landings if the need arises, Sweden's Air Force adds both capability and innovation to NATO's air defence.
Sweden and Finland's accession to NATO means a lot when it comes to geography. We can bring our situation awareness, our early warning concepts, and overall our knowledge of the situation in our region, and combine that with other NATO allies, which will really strengthen our situation awareness in the high north.
The high north is a harsh and unforgiving environment, but operating effectively in extreme climates and rugged terrain demands specialised units. Located in the north of Sweden, the Swedish Army's Norbotten Brigade is specifically trained in cold weather and Arctic warfare.
During winter times we have almost no light, few roads on long distances, and often also in winter time we have the extreme cold, going below 30 minus. So that's a challenge, and we really need to have the right equipment and of course bringing the unit together, exercising, training in this environment.
The Norbotten Brigade is equipped with tanks and combat vehicles specially designed and modified for Arctic operations.
We are in the training field. We have just dismounted from a CV-90 combat vehicle, and my squad is taking terrain in a forward direction.
With a personnel of 1,500, the brigade includes full-time soldiers, reservists and conscripts, all bringing a diverse mix of skills and backgrounds from across Sweden and sometimes even beyond.
I'm from Paisley, Glasgow in Scotland. I moved to Sweden when I was young, when I was 6 years old, and I've grown up here, so Sweden has become my home, and makes sense to defend it. Joining NATO, for me as an individual, it means that I get to help not only defend what has become my home country here in Sweden, but the country where I'm from as well, which is the United Kingdom. And so I've learned a lot of things, and I've realised that if you have the right people beside you, you can do pretty much anything.
But Sweden's contributions to Euro-Atlantic security go beyond air, land and sea.
Space is something that we utilize daily for communication, for weather forecast, for surveillance, wide range of different areas where we actually are very dependent on space.
Esrange Space Centre, located in northern Sweden, is a leading European space facility operated by the Swedish Space Corporation. It supports satellite operations, rocket launches and atmospheric research, making it a key asset for space and defence initiatives.
Please follow me. In Sweden, but I think also other countries in Europe have learned now what is happening in Ukraine. You need to have space assets that can see actually what is going on and what is to plan and be prepared. The terrestrial network is shut down immediately when the war breaks out. What can you do with space assets? You can have communication, you can do a lot of things with that. And you see also what we are doing with drones and with unmanned vehicles today. They are controlled by space assets, so that is important.
If we see a war situation where actually the mobile networks, they are not working, then we will be much more dependent on satellite communication, and we need to be ready for that situation. What is key also is that you have the capability to send off satellites from different places around the globe. We are based out of Europe, and this is the only facility that has these capabilities.
Sweden's path to NATO was not one that was taken lightly, but with a war on Europe's doorstep and an existential threat to its borders, the Nordic nation ultimately decided it was safer within the alliance than standing alone.
The strength that 32 allies bring together, both in terms of deterrence and of course also the operational capabilities to take up the fight if necessary, is absolutely convincing.
And as a NATO member, Sweden's contribution to collective Euro-Atlantic security in terms of experience, equipment and personnel, as well as its geographical location at the heart of Europe's north, means that in both the Baltic and the Arctic regions, NATO is better equipped to protect its populations against any external threat.
We have to understand that we are an ally, and as ally you share blood and you're solidaric. And by our accession into alliance, we are safer, but NATO is also stronger, and that makes me proud as a Swede.